Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining me. Now, I had a request from Deborah. Now, I don't know if I can pronounce your surname correctly, Deborah. Spolaor, I think it is. Sorry if I've not pronounced that correctly, but you know who you are. So from Deborah, and Deborah wanted me to do an eye look with one eye using the new maroon palette, which is this one, and on the other eye to use the dream eyes. I said love eyes earlier, but I think she meant dream eyes. I will double check just before I start, but I think she said dream eyes from the Pillow Talk palette, and if so, I think I can do it. And I think it's to see how similar they are. So I'm just going to double check that that is the trio she was talking about, and we'll get going with this look. So I was right, it was the dream palette. So I'm going to do the maroon palette on this side, and I'll do the dream trio on this side, and let's see how similar we can get it to look. Now I've got two sets of blending brushes and smudge brushes, so I will make sure that I don't mix them up. I'm not going to do mascara and liner and lipstick and everything else because I'm getting ready to go to bed. But I'm going to just show you the simply the eye look. I've still got some base on from today, and I've still got my blush on, but my lipstick's come off because I've just eaten. But anyway, let's get going with this. So on this side, I am going to use the maroon palette. So this side is the maroon palette, everyone, and I'm just putting the prime shade on here. Now the only thing is that on the trio of Pillow Talk you don't have a prime shade, but I'm assuming that I can use some of the shades from the Pillow Talk palette because it's basically, can I get a similar look? So with the prime shade, I'm going to then go in with this shade, which is the prime shade of the day look, as my highlighter shade, this one here at the end, and I'm going to put that one on that side because I think they'll look quite similar. Probably slightly warmer, but are you going to notice that much? Probably not. Prime shades are quite similar in general anyway. Okay, so then I'm going to go in with the enhanced shade on this side of the maroon palette, and I'm going to take it halfway along the mobile lid and up into the socket. I'm going to do the kind of classic, what Charlotte does with her palettes on this side, and then see if I can kind of recreate it as much as I can with the Pillow Talk palette. Okay, and then this one is a very similar shade, this middle one. Slightly different. Let me just show you the difference in the shades. I'm going to mix up my brushes. Put it that side, Ali. Right, so let me just show you the enhanced shade of the maroon palette, which is this one here. And the enhanced shade of the, am I going to use the enhanced? I'll show you the prime and the enhanced shade of the dream look of the Pillow Talk palette. So this is the prime shade, which you can see is a sort of a bit less purple, more red, a bit more raspberry, and this is the enhanced shade. But it's the question, I think, is how similar is it going to look on the eye? So I'm going to use the enhanced shade on this side, and I'm going to do exactly what I did the other side. Now this looks a bit darker, but you can go in with a lighter hand. And I might, at the end of it, go and ask my other half if he thinks that my eye makeup looks different on each side. Because he's actually quite a visual person. He will say, I know a joke, but so this one is slightly redder This one's got a bit more purple in it. Can you see? Now the smoke shades are quite different. So I would say the smoke shade, they're both matte. So this is the smoke shade of the Dream palette in Pillow Talk. And this one is the smoke shade in the Maroon palette, which is far more purple. But I can mix them, I think, to look quite similar. I think if I mixed it with some of the brown in the Date Look, this dark brown here, and maybe this one here to make it look a bit more purple, this one and this one here, then I think I could make it look similar. So we'll have a go at that. But let me just first go in with the Maroon palette. And so I'm going to tuck this in that side and then up into the socket. I'm going to take my smudge brush for that side and I'm going to take that underneath. Okay, so this one is looking a bit more orangey, a bit more, this reminds me a bit more of Charlotte Darling. And yet in the palette, it looks quite raspberry shade. Now I'm going to first of all put that brush down, Ali, the other brush, and I'm going to take this shade here, this one here, and that's the smoke shade of the Dream Trio. Just tap a little extra off on my fingers because that's picked up quite a bit of pigment. Right, so this is looking more red and more raspberry than the other side. But the question is, so if I was to do nothing else, this is the Maroon palette, this is the Love Trio. Okay, so it's quite bright and quite red. So if you just want to purely, let me take some of that under there. If you purely want to just see the difference before I try and play around. Maroon palette. Pillow Talk Dream Trio. So it's a lot redder. Now this would be, they both look quite nice with green eyes. This would look particularly nice with green eyes because it's quite red, and when you got this sort of red, it looks lovely with green eyes. I think Charlotte's got green eyes, hasn't she? Just trying to think. Okay, so what I'm going to do to try and tone this down and make it look a bit more similar to that is I'm going to go in with the smoke shade. Let me just, I keep wanting to cover this mirror up. I'm going to go in with the smoke shade of the Date Look, first of all, and I'm going to put that into the socket to darken it a bit. This isn't going to make it look purple, but it's going to darken it. I cover that red completely and take it into here. And then, of course, with my smudge brush, take it underneath. Now, this tone here looks quite light, but it sort of has a bit more of a bluer undertone that hopefully will make it look purple. Haven't rehearsed this, so it might not, but I'll try and get it as close as I can, and I think this will make it look a bit more purple. So this one I'm using is the smoke shade of the Day Eye, all right? And it is making it look more purple, as you can see. But I'm having to do a little bit of mixing to get rid of that red. Let's just make sure I've got as much of the red off my brush as I possibly can. so that I can really go in and cover it. So I have made it look purple, as you can see. It's just the red is moving up, but I can put that right with some highlighter in a minute. Let me take this underneath as well. I just put a little bit here with the smudge brush. See, now if you put some of this, I'm just taking this now, I'm putting it on with the smudge brush, because that's going to apply a thicker layer and make it look more purple. Right, so all that's really lacking now is for me to I'm just going to wipe some of that away where I've taken it up, because that's what's making it look a lot redder. And now I'm going to take the smudge brush and I'm going to go back to the prime shade of the Pillow Talk Day Look, this one here. And I'm going to put that under here. And then I'm going to go back to my maroon palette and do the same the other side. Now, I haven't used the pop shade yet of the maroon palette, so I'm going to put some of that on. I'm going to do it with the smudge brush at the moment, because my eyes are pretty sensitive. And so I'm going to just pop that on with the smudge brush. Okay. Now, with this side, we want to calm down some of this. If I put this prime shade on of the Dream Trio, it's going to look too raspberry again. I'll show you. I do that. It's going to look a lot pinker. But I'll put some on. Look, I'm doing it with my fingers. I better do the other one with my fingers, just to be fair. So that one's quite lilac-y. This one is quite pink. But if I then take the enhanced shade from the Day Look, again, I think that's going to calm it down and make it look similar-ish. Okay, and then I'll finish off by taking the prime shade here of the Pillow Talk palette, Day, and with the other one I'll take the prime shade of the maroon palette and put it here. And that is the closest I can get it. And I think that will give you an idea of, is it the same as the maroon palette? Not really. This is a lot more raspberry than that. But I've got it as close as I can possibly get it for you. I hope this has been helpful. I'll just do a close-up so that you can see. Maroon palette. And that is the Dream Trio with a bit of the Day Look to make it look a bit more purple. Okay, so thank you very much, Deborah, for that. I will leave you with some swatches of the Dream Trio and the maroon palette so that you can see the swatches as they are side by side, and I hope that's been helpful. Okay, have a lovely day, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.